all the Packer haters in town would end up being like, all right, I like them.
All right, Justin, if the Ravens are going to win, let's play devil's advocate. Because do you have Cowboys winning here?
Yeah, Cowboys.
He's got Cowboys. I've got Cowboys. If you're the Ravens, what do you do to win?
They are going to have to stop the pass. I just don't see them having to really worry about the run too much. I know that Tashard Choice has done well over the last 2 weeks.
Oh, man, this is
I don't see him looking that strong against a strong defense. I don't see him making moves. I see him picking up good blocks and getting good yards. But it's all in that offensive line. I don't see him as the reason why he's going for 20, 30 chunks at a time. He's getting good blocks. And anybody that wants to say anything bad about Terrell Owens as a receiver, I will give him an excellent wide receiving blocker. That guy blocks every play to his guts out.
He's a great football player.
He's a good football player. He's just he doesn't need to be. He should have decided a long time ago that the cameras are bad. Yeah. Cameras are bad. I'll go be weird somewhere else.
Right. He loves attention, whether it's good or bad. Yeah. And that's a shame. But anyway, I think you got a rookie quarterback on the road playing for the playoffs, going against the meanest man in the NFL, I think, DeMarcus Ware, and I think it's going to get ugly. And I think it's going to get ugly early. You got Jerry Jones on the sideline. They want to win in front of their owner, and he wants to win, and they know it, and it's all set out in front of them, and they got all that talent. I just think it's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, Jerry Jones
in a hurry.
Seriously, in pregame, he just wanders around the field while they're stretching, like with a checkbook, just kind of shaking it around their heads while they're,
or a knife,
stretching their hammies,
shanking some people too.
If you were the what's your key for the Ravens to stay in the game?
They got to be conservative. They got to hold the ball. They got to keep it away from that high-power offense. I don't see how they're going to do it with that kind of defense bearing down on. I think that defense will score enough points on their own just playing against that offense.
Yeah. My key would be they've got 3 backs that are capable, but I think LaRon McClain is the back that you put against Dallas because if you're going to do anything, you're going to hold the ball. You can't stop them from scoring. They're going to score. Yeah. Keep the ball away from them.
That's exactly.
I agree.
Just don't let them have the ball.
5 yards at a time.
5 yards at a time. LaRon McClain, and then just pound that because they do have one of the toughest offensive lines in football. They have a giant, mean offensive line, and LaRon McClain is almost as big as a lineman at running back. So, I mean, if they're going to do anything, that's how they're going to do it.
Poor man's Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah, because he's not as fast. I think he's heavier, though. And he doesn't have all those moves on moves. So, either way, let's get out of that game because we got a lot of games. We're going to run out of time. Speaking of the Cardinals-Patriots.
I don't see it. I don't see the Cards doing it this week. I see them losing out.
Well, it's in Foxborough.
It is in Foxborough.
The Patriots are going to win that game. The Patriots are in the playoffs. I absolutely see it.
You agree?
The Patriots are a playoff team, and they're going to do what they got to do to get in.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to take care of business at home. I just don't see Arizona being able to do it. They're able to do it. I just don't see it happening.
Not this week. Not against a team that really needs to win.
No. Yeah. Even though I think this is going to be a shootout, though, because the Patriots haven't stopped anybody from scoring. And if you can't stop anybody from scoring, the Cards aren't going to be a team that you're going to stop from scoring. They can do that. That's one thing that those guys can do against it. They'll score points.
I tell you what, though, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
It may be a fun game to watch, and it might be the most maddening game of penalties and fumbles.
Yeah,
I mean, both of these teams have the capability of
I tell you what, I had
Matt
Castle in my fantasy football league, and I'd be excited to watch that game.
Yeah, that would be a nice championship
It's going to be
game.
a lot of air time.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I just got that. That's awful.
I take that one back.
So, yeah, I got the Patriots, too. Falcons at Vikings. In Minnesota. It doesn't really matter weather-wise because it's in a dome.
Once again, both teams have to win.
Tavares Jackson
just traded quarterbacks
named the starter.
Just got traded quarterbacks
One
again.
hot
and
game.
I think that's going to hurt them.
I think it's going to hurt them, too.
They both have to win.
They both have to
stand
win.
a shot. Well, the Vikings not so much as Atlanta, but the Bears could creep up on the Vikings pretty darn easy.
If the Bears don't let Green Bay do to them what they did last time.
I tell you what, I've seen something in that rookie quarterback, that Matt Ryan.
I didn't see anything in him last week. He just coughed it up and threw it to the wrong team.
He's a rookie.
Last week.
You got it. He's a rookie. You got it. Stuff happens, but I think he's the true thing. He's going to show up, and that kid likes to talk.
No, he's having one of the. Him and Flacco both are having great seasons. They're both having great seasons, and they're both on the verge of making the playoffs. We'll see if either one of them can do it.
I'm taking the Vikings.
Taking the Vikings. Yeah. Why?
Because simply based on the fact of Matt Ryan being a rookie, it's a rookie kind of a fresh team. Not a lot of. It doesn't seem like they're experienced enough together. Whereas the Vikings, their offense, but you have Adrian Peterson. He's going to play.
He's
going to have a good game against Atlanta's defense.
Vikings are going to win.
All the Vikings guys are in. Jared Allen's in. They got
Adrian Peterson, number 1. Number 2 is Michael Turner on the Falcons.
Yeah. That's Michael Turner's probably going to have an okay game. Maybe the
Vikings
team's okay.
Michael Turner has not yet had a bad game. They're both running everywhere. They just run all over the place.
I'm taking
the Vikes at home.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikes not because they're at home, not because there's any player issues. Just as a team, the Vikings are getting hot right now. Yeah. They're getting hot at the right time. There was this talk that they were the playoff team coming into the season. They had some hiccups because they didn't have a good year last year. They come in and people are expecting them to be a good team. So as opposed to the Falcons, no one expected anything out of them, and they surprised a bunch of teams at the beginning of the year. People were ready for the Vikings at the beginning of the year,
absolutely,
and they handed it to them. And now the Vikings are starting to figure out who they are, and that they are a pretty good football team. Just with their personnel, they're a good football team, and they're starting to be able to play together. So
Major Dad is head
Major
coach.
Dad is going to get some of that pressure off of him because they were talking about firing him when he was 500 earlier. It's like, seriously?
Brad Childress is a pretty good coach.
Mike Tice was a pretty good coach.
Yeah,
Dennis Green was a pretty good coach. They don't keep.
You got to be a pretty good coach to be in the NFL. Whether you're a good NFL coach or not.
Yeah.
That's
I thought that Mike Tice was a pretty good NFL coach. I think that the Viking, there's a pretty short leash in Minnesota as a head coach.
Yeah.
Well, they change their owner every 3 years. So
What else do you do in Minnesota? It's cold.
It's cold. Change owners.
Yeah, you get all mixed up in your brain because it's cold and you're constantly wanting to get rid of people.
And you ride the roller coaster at the World's Mall.
Yeah.
I'd imagine the people like to leave Minnesota as well.
Yeah. Get me the heck out of here. It's cold.
This isn't so much of a perfect playoff implication game, but Eagles-Redskins, one of these teams to remain in the picture has to win this game.
Yeah. I sure feel bad about those Redskins. What a disappointment.
Every year.
Yeah. Ugh. They just look awful week in and week out for the last, 7 games? I mean, when was the last time that the Redskins were like, booyah, look at us go? It's been a while.
91?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this season, just
the last time
win.
that they were really good was, and they had Mark Rippon for the quarterback.
Yeah.
That guy was
91.
terrible.
Yeah.
Oof.
Super Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even really that good. Christian Okoye was a demon in that game. Just unbelievable.
Let's, since we don't have enough of the Bronco talk, what's the odds of Colt Brennan taking over next year?
I thought that the odds of him taking over this week were definite when they lost to the Bengals.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty much the end of Jason Campbell. He hasn't done anything, but
they've given him every opportunity. And
you
know by now that you should know by now.
That's the thing, and it's a bad situation for Jason Campbell because here's a guy that makes good decisions. He's pretty sharp. He actually throws the ball really far. He just hasn't been able to reel. He doesn't know how to throw.
But he's like the kid that borrows the parent's car.
Yeah, exactly.
The parent is always in the back seat. They won't let him go because if they get out of the car, he's going to go run into somebody. He just doesn't have the.
And at the right team, he could be, talk of the town. This guy doesn't mess up. In Washington,
they need a
playmaker at that position, especially because of the type of offense they have.
Yeah.
They did draft a couple of receivers that are taller this year, but those guys aren't going to, develop overnight. And your main receivers, Santana Moss and Antoine Randall, they're playmakers, but they're short guys.
With a system like that, as good as Clinton Portis is, and how many carries that guy should be getting.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of carries.
But he gets beat up,
He
though.
does
They
get beat
can't
up.
do that, and that's
but
why.
you put in a Colt Brennan who's used to throwing 40, 50, 60 passes a game.
This guy's a rookie straight out of the whack.
He's not going to throw 40, 50, 60 passes.
This guy's going to have to be in the program for a year, at least maybe two or three before he comes in.
Yeah, well, that's what they're thinking, coaching-wise. Zorn sat him, but this is after, and it is preseason. It's preseason. I'm the first person to say preseason is nonsense.
Right.
And all things can happen in preseason, but some things you can gauge is he performed so consistently in preseason. He was the third highest quarterback rating in the preseason. That's pretty good. Every time he got out there, he scored. Zorn doesn't want to do anything to inflate Brennan's ego, but you can tell he wants him to be the quarterback.
Yeah, I get that too.
And
he does. That's why Brennan made the camp and everything, because like the assistants were saying, this guy has been really lucky and he doesn't have all the tools and stuff like that. But I guarantee you the reason why he's there is their head coach. Because he's a quarterback and he probably looks at him as a project and says, you know what, this guy can play.
It's a nice project to have if you're
stink.
Zorn, though, because he's a good quarterback.
That coach has already met and exceeded his expectations.
Yeah.
So he's got to pass this year. Next year might not be the same.
Next year might not be the same. And that's where I don't see that Campbell's going to.
He was supposed to be the coordinator. And then the owner changed his mind and said, you can be the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he's a good choice as a head coach. I mean, just looking at him, listening to him, if I was on that football team, I'd do whatever. I would play for that man.
Of course you would. You'd be in the NFL.
Yeah. Well,
point. Huh.
Well, I mean, you look at some guys.
No, I'm good. No, I'd rather sit on my couch and eat nachos.
Yeah.
Like Coughlin has a lot of times. There's people that have a hard time playing for Coughlin. And I don't think that anybody's ever going to have a hard time playing for Zorn.
No.
He's just a nice guy.
Yeah, Coughlin,
and he's a good
he
football
reminds me
brain.
of that 40-year, PE instructor.
Yeah, he does. He wears the whistle.
Yeah.
He wears the whistle during football games.
And he can't relate to
baskets.
those guys blinging their Bentleys and all that stuff. So he turns into a hard case. He just.
Some of the things he says though just don't make sense.
But the guy's a leader. I mean, heck.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, the guy they won a Super Bowl with him. So his style.
So
works.
you got.
I don't know. I may take a no vote. No, I'm taking the Eagles. Sorry.
Eagles.
Unanimous. Eagles are hot. Redskins just. I don't know. I'm hoping it's not a shootout though, because the guy I'm playing in the fantasy football championship has both those quarterbacks. So no shootout. Defensive struggle.
Go Clinton Portis.
Big
Brian
game. First
Westbrook.
to the big.
I had McNabb, and he's so inconsistent. He just might have a down week.
I hope.
I wouldn't bet.
Yeah. The first of the big two. The first time in my life that I have seen the home field advantage in the playoffs come down to head-to-head matchups this late in the season. Panthers versus the Giants in New York City.
That is why I'm going to stick with the G-Men.
Home field.
Simply because it's in New York. New York's got Brandon Jacobs back. You're going to see a lot of Brandon Jacobs this coming weekend. You're probably going to see a lot of D'Angelo Williams this coming weekend. But it's simply the fact that New York is used to playing in the stinking butt cold. And I personally think that Brandon Jacobs, when it is cold, you put the ball on the ground. I think Brandon Jacobs is a better back. I just hate to say it than D'Angelo Williams. Derek Ward isn't exactly
the guy is
New
not
York
100%
either,
though.
He's not 100%.
He's not 100%.
You give him 15 carries in the game, and you give another 15 to Derek Ward.
Derek Ward's not playing.
Why?
He's injured.
Oh man! All right, never mind.
Hickson.
Giants are going to win. Still.
No. Okay. Yeah. You got Hickson is questionable. Ward's doubtful, and Justin Tuck might not play.
I'm going to go against him. I'm saying Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cats too.
They got two of probably the top 5 or 6 running backs in the league.
Yeah.
And they're really good. They're pounding the ball. They know their identity now. And I think they're going to go up there and win. And the thing is the Giants, they're in the playoffs. They're going to have guys sitting. They're not.
Yeah.
Jacobs is going to play as much as you think.
They still have to get that home field advantage.
That's true.
That's what the whole game is about, gentlemen, is the home field. And that's a field that you want to play in throughout the playoffs.
New York is a place you want to play. Carolina is no place to go. It's not a place to visit during the playoffs.
It's a nice place for a Super Bowl.
It's a nice place. Well, I mean, just crowd-wise, they love those big cats down there.
Yeah.
The other thing with the Panthers, chemistry between Steve Smith, Mushin Mohammed, and Jake Delhomme. They've been playing together for a long time.
They are a good team.
They are a good team.
They're going to win games in this playoffs.
I think they're going to be pretty good.
I think they're the biggest threat to go to the Super Bowl right now.
It could be. They're
Giants are cooling
One
off
of those
right
two
now.
teams will represent the NFC.
I'll back that statement.
Okay. And now the last of our playoff.
And one of these next two teams will represent the AFC.
I don't know that that's necessarily
That's what
true.
I'm saying,
I
right?
do not know
Right here.
that.
Write
Nor
it down.
right, it's
Write it
already
down.
written down. Steelers, Titans, in Tennessee.
I am taking the Steelers.
Because
I haven't been a fan of Tennessee all year. I just don't see them as that great as everybody sounds. Makes them sound to
You
be.
keep waiting for them to hit rock
Yeah.
bottom. They haven't done it.
No,
and they keep proving everybody wrong. I
But
think
they're
just gonna
losing
keep
to
going, and they
mediocre
know
teams.
That. They know that, and they're going to prove a point this week.
They really don't have to win, whereas the Steelers still kind of have a little something to gain by this
They
game.
have a lot to play for this weekend.
Yeah, but Tennessee's already clinched that division, whereas the Steelers have not clinched their division. They're probably going to clinch their division.
Yeah.
It's just that's the type of game that the Steelers live for. I mean, that's what makes Pittsburgh is teams like that.
It's going to be a great game to watch. I'm going Tennessee though. I am. I think they'll do
why
it.
you got Tennessee?
I like their running game. I really like their defense. And I don't think they're afraid of Pittsburgh. I think a lot of teams that play Pittsburgh are actually afraid of them. And they come in and they've lost before they even got off the bus. And you're not going to find that with Tennessee. It's at home. And I think that they're ramping up for the playoffs. I think they're going to put it to them. I think when I say put it to them, it'll be a good close game. But I think in the end, Tennessee's going to win it.
I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers because of that football right there and what is on either side of it during the game. When you put the football on the ground, the Steelers have a better defense than the Titans have an offense. And when you put the ball on the ground, the Steelers have a better offense than the Titans have a defense. They are better on both sides of the ball than who they are playing.
Yeah, and they're no slouch on special teams either.
And they're no slouch on special teams.
Yeah, Dick LeBeau is a fantastic defense coordinator. Get that guy in the Hall of Fame.
He will get in the Hall of Fame. He has 67 interceptions as a player. He was the leader until Ronnie Lott, I think.
Yeah.
Are you autistic or something? Or
Why? Because I do this?
you just remember everything?
Yeah, don't get him started.
We only got like a minute left. Final thought.
Final thought. One last final
Short
thought, and I'll
one.
make it my last final thought for this game. Steelers find ways to win games. They've proven that. Tennessee has not proven that they
haven't.
found a way to win games. That's my proof.
Tennessee's got something
done.
to prove. They got their chance to do it this weekend. I think it's going to happen.
Okay. Well, my final thought is that I'm sad that football season is almost over. I'm Sam Heflin for Burt Roberts and Justin Throngard. Thank you, and good night.
Evening.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Go Boise State.
Go Boise State. We forgot to do that.
Yes. Go Bronx in the Poinsettia Bowl. Good luck, Ian. Get that last touchdown, buddy.
It's Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Great job. Good job, guys. You did good, Bert.
That was a good show. That was a good show. Yeah. Yeah.